Hello, beloved Twin Flames. This is Stephanie Parasha, Divine Light, coming out to you from New Zealand, Aotearoa. I've been really feeling the need to bring some information and message and a transmission of energy through to you all, even though myself, I have this week just started a brand new job, working full-time, and it's the first time I've gone back to full-time work since having my daughter 12 years ago, so it's a big change for me, but it is also a part of what I believe to be a step up into service. I was given information that this particular role and the location that it is, and in particular all of that is connected to my larger mission, my twin flame mission and my Lightworker mission on this planet, and that it is basically a massive portal for bridging the newer dimensions and the higher templates of love and light onto this planet. So I feel very, very privileged to have been provided with this amazing role, in which is actually a acute mental health respite home and I am managing that home, so I get to work with staff around how to provide a beautiful healing space for those that are suffering distress, which has been labelled by our mainstream systems as mental distress, but as we would know, those of us that are on the Lightworker path or have awakened via probably a similar process, that this is really a whole body experience of the soul needing to grow and heal the trauma that's been experienced and in most cases has been labelled as some kind of mental illness or being given a psychiatric diagnosis. Anyway, so that's where I am at the moment, and I'm very busy with that new role, learning the job, but wanting very much to bring through some kind of grounded, practical information for Twin Flames, because this week, I myself am also a subscriber to various channels providing information about Twin Flames, and what I'm really feeling at the moment is I'm kind of feeling a little bit to be quite honest, starved of good information, and there's not a lot of good stuff coming through out there that's really, really resonating with me. In fact, some of the people that I've previously resonated with, and I'm definitely not going to be mentioning any names here, I'm kind of going, I'm not sure if that's resonating anymore, and I've found myself kind of moving away from quite a lot of what I used to listen to in the past, and just really needing something a little bit more juicy, needing something a little bit more like bang on, really epic in my sort of being, that's going to make me really go, wow, yeah, that's it, and just kind of not really feeling like listening to regurgitated information or information that's kind of creates more fear or doubt or confusion than clarity or hope or positivity, and creates a feeling of calmness and love and light. That's what I'm looking for. And so I am here, standing here, wanting to provide that for you in this message. And so I decided what I'd talk about this week is the topics of what I'll call radical surrender, radical trust, and radical forgiveness. And because it has to be radical, because the kinds of trust and the kind of surrender and the kind of forgiveness that are just kind of run-of-the-mill and not really cutting it anymore. So we need to take it to the next level on this journey. What I've been experiencing this week personally on my path is quite a lot of physical symptoms of like heart palpitations, sort of nervous sort of type tremors, and I've had to really go with it, and because I'm aware that whilst this job might be anxiety provoking, I myself am actually feeling quite content and okay with it, and quite relaxed about going into that situation, and well supported by my organisation in the way that they're training me in that role. And so what I'm aware of is that this is actually more of a and kind of an upgrade. And I know the difference. I can feel the difference in my body. So I've had to really, because the instant thing that your body wants to do or your mind wants to do when your body's doing funny things like rapid heartbeats and kind of tremory sort of vibrations in the muscles and limbs, it's like, what is happening? And that's a freak out, and it automatically resists and tightens up and starts to go into fear. So what I've had to do is say, okay, to my mind and my body, this is some kind of upgrade, and I'm just going to have to trust it and surrender into it and allow the process of the upgrade. Because in the past, I probably would have held on for dear life and wondered what on earth was going on, and probably resisted this in some way, shape or form, and not really trusted it. So that's what I mean by radical surrender to whatever's happening in the moment, trusting it as some kind of pathway of evolution, although it may not look like that in the moment. In fact, it most entirely probably won't. Whatever you're being faced with will look on the surface to be quite devastating, potentially dangerous, harmful, painful, not pretty, not nice, not a good experience. However, in some way, shape or form, when we go into a deeper trust around it, what we may find is that it's a learning, a growth opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to continue to maintain our trust that this, on some level, this is pushing us to grow. Okay, so part of this process was I've not been able to find a house to live in. So this is my ground level explanation for you. And I've ended up, although I'm very lucky, I do have a house truck. So I've always got a home, but I do need to find a proper place to park my house truck. And there are some people in New Zealand that consider house trucks to be sort of like something they don't really want in their area, and there's a bit of a reputation attached to house trucks that's probably similar to what the gypsies are in Europe, where they're kind of people that are hippies that smoke a lot of weed and make a big mess and maybe steal things. So generally house trucks are not really welcome. But I'm lucky enough that where I've ended up is actually a Christian camp. And the words that I was told were when I reached here, and they were very open and welcome to us, and it was a beautiful environment with lovely trees and grounds and areas for children, very, very safe. And I heard Jesus very, very happy that I'd found my way here, saying, "I will not forsake you." And it just brought tears to my eyes, and I realised I was being really well looked after, and even what originally had looked like a bit of a disaster, because the place we'd originally planned to go just was not suitable. And all the way through since I've been here, I've been getting very beautiful messages from Jesus, and he's been just supporting me through this transition of coming into a new area, a new place to live. My daughter's had to start a new school. I've had to start a new job, and we've been held in the arms of this beloved energy of the land here where we're staying. I've been, whenever I go to cook dinner in the shared kitchen space, there's a Bible sitting there, and I will flick through it and ask for to be shown information and given messages that will help me on my journey. We're also looking for a house, and then just before I flipped a page and asked for some help, and the message in the Bible, in the book, was, "I shall build thee a house." And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really funny. And, hearing little songs that I grew up with when I was young. Back in the day, with my family are definitely not Christian, but they used to send me off to a little Sunday school thing, probably just to get us out of the house on a Sunday morning that was just round the corner that we could walk to. And there was a song they used to sing, and it was "Put your hand in the hand of the man that stills the water." And I kept hearing that song all week, and I just felt like it's kind of almost making me emotional, because I just felt that support, and it's just been beautiful. And I'm not telling everyone go and convert to Christianity or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that when you radically surrender and radically trust, you're putting your trust in divine source, however you interpret that, whether that is Jesus Christ or whether that is Archangel Michael or the universe or the trees or whatever you want to feels right for you. It's non-denominational, the support that's available, and it's so beautiful. And the other challenge that I've had this week is that I've also been thinking about the option of maybe buying a property and possibly needing some support from my family for that. I should have known better than to go and seek that support from my parents, because I shouldn't really rely on that kind of support. I haven't always had it in the past, but I thought, why not? I'm just going to try this time round. And of course, it was met with a little bit of resistance and a not real clarity, and sort of at the same time, I don't want to make my parents look bad at all, because this is part of my learning. It's not about that, but whilst at the same time I'm asking for help and support, they are in the midst of purchasing 2 brand new cars, and it just felt like a bit of a slap. And but what it made me realise was, because I did go into anger, I was super triggered. So what I'm also showing you is that at the moment we are being triggered. And, I was extremely angry. I was really upset. I was to the point of throwing things around, swearing a lot, and just really between crying and hopelessness and upset and then extreme anger, until I took a deep breath and just said, look, this is ridiculous. It's the same feeling that I've always had of being unsupported. I need to do something about this. And I went and got a book out of the library, and it was called Radical Forgiveness. And it's taking that forgiveness one step more, because I can't just say, I forgive my parents because they don't know any better and that's just them, whilst I'm still carrying all this anger, doesn't resolve it for me. So what this new approach of radical forgiveness is actually saying, whilst that person may have done something unforgivable in many ways, or something that is really, without a shadow of a doubt, really kind of bad or rude or mean or whatever, what are they actually showing you? What are they actually bringing out in you? What are they highlighting for you? What has been triggered in you? So that because they've actually, it's a blessing that they're actually highlighting that for you, and they're playing a role for you, which is a very difficult role, and may also involve a lot of pain for them to have to play that role for you on some level. But they're showing you what you're believing that's not true about yourself or about life. And what they showed me was that I was believing that I was unsupported by them. Yes, so it may seem. However, what I needed to shift was a belief that whilst I may be unsupported by them, I am actually supported by a greater power that is the universe, and that the support may not come directly from them, but it will still come nonetheless. So I was needing to shift that belief, and it was only through those actions that I was able to then forgive them, because I said, wow, you're actually helping me to see a belief that's really not been serving me for a very long time, and I need to shift that. So that's just a little bit of background. I just wanted to talk about this because it's all real kind of life stuff that helps us see with examples how to shift our energy out of some of those old patterns that just can be really stuck in there. And that, as Twin Flames and Lightworkers, is one of our main jobs. And at the moment we're cruising up for a full moon in a couple of days. It's looking beautiful out there. The stars are so clear at the moment in New Zealand. We've got a beautiful spring climate surrounding us, and it's just been absolutely gorgeous weather, and the moon is so beautiful in the sky right now, growing into its big entirety. So this is some of the things that are going on. In terms of my own twin flame journey, what I'm experiencing with my beloved twin flame at the moment is that we are we are always in pretty good communication. Sometimes we'll have little gaps, but then we'll often, those gaps will be closed pretty quickly, and we'll have a conversation, or we'll connect in with Messenger or whatever. And what I'm seeing in my twin flame as the masculine is he is doing so much healing right now. He is actively and consciously healing himself. He is observing himself. He's talking about it. He's sharing his observations. He's now talking about his soul. These are things that he's never talked about before. These are things that he's always kind of stayed on a certain level of science or psychology to understand life, and he's now beginning to talk about his soul. He's beginning to see the difference between unawakened and awakened, and he's working on his inner child healing. He's working on his triggers around his family. He's with his family right now, visiting his family overseas, and he's communicating with me about some of the things that he's finding difficult and what he's working on. And to tell you the truth, I am so happy about this level of communication with my twin. I know that this stuff takes time, and when I hear different readers out there and tarot readings for twin flames and unions coming soon and all this kind of stuff, it kind of makes me quite irritated, because I think that's just not what it's all about. Yes, it is about that in a longer term sense, but what it's about right now for us is, for many twin flames and many humans right now and many light workers, is that we are healing. We are healing some very deep wounds, and to make union the focus takes us away from some of the beautiful energies and things that we are experiencing together, and we're doing that work together. And by the feminine energies, whether you're a male or a female, by the predominantly feminine energetic twin committing to their healing journey and doing the work and not being afraid to go within and face the pain and heal it, and by setting that as an example and practicing actively self-acceptance and self-love and really getting across a line with that, is giving our beloved masculine twin flame the permission and the safety to do the same. And they are now doing it because we know how to hold ourselves in our pain. We can also do that for them, or we can, by doing that for us, extend energetically feeling within them that they are supported. And my twin is also talking about authenticity and now feeling safer in himself to be himself and to not be afraid to show his true self by having to hide it, by creating masks and false personas for the fear of being judged. So these types of things that are, I know, talked about by energy readers out there in the Twin Flame Collective that are actively involved in the healing part of this journey, are mentioning these things, and I'm seeing that in my own union with my own twin flame, and it is very, very beautiful. So we, just to know that whether you're wherever you're at on your journey, how far away you are from your twin, close or not, this is really where we're at right now. We're really getting into the real depths of the heart healing. The energies are very powerful right now for this work, and it's no longer, as we've kind of come away from it being incredibly scary to the point where we wouldn't want to touch it with a barge pole, to actually going, this feels like, what I talked about in one of my earlier videos, a couple of videos ago, was it's a more inviting place to be because we're more accepting of it, and it feels more like where we need to be rather than wanting to avoid it. We're becoming more inviting to the energy of healing our pain and being closer to them, being closer to that inner child, being closer to that part of us that's the most afraid, and seeing the beauty in it, seeing the value in it, seeing the amazing energy that can be created from that space when we heal it, the amazing power that sits in that place. And so this is just beautiful. I'm seeing that a lot. Okay, Twin Flames, I'm going to leave it there. I won't go on too much. I am still available for a very limited number of sessions that I'm doing now on the weekends and some evenings. My schedule's I'm trying to keep it reasonably light, but there are some spaces. So if you do feel like you need to connect on an individual level, please just check out the link below and have a look at the sessions I've got available. In the meantime, sending you out a lot of love from my heart. I know that this work can be tiring and exhausting and frustrating and can be challenging, but with it comes definite progress on your path and a closer connection. When you become closer to the parts of you that are afraid and scared and need more love, you become closer to your twin in that process. Okay, sending you lots of love, and I'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for listening.